In this video, I'm going to delve into the transformative power of dance as a healing modality, providing insights, tips, and personal stories that will illustrate the profound impact of somatic movement. Hi, I'm Ariel Starr. If you're new here at the Heal Through Dance channel, we are a somatic-based movement education center. So let's start to understand somatic movement. Somatic movement is rooted in the idea that our bodies hold the memories and emotions of our experiences. So our practice encourages individuals to become more aware of their bodily sensations and to explore movement as a means of self-discovery and healing. Unlike traditional forms of dance, which often focus on technique, performance, here at Heal Through Dance, we focus on somatic movement and prioritize our personal experience and expression. So some key principles of the somatic movement practice is awareness, mindfulness, exploration, and integration. So when we talk about awareness, we're talking about cultivating a heightened sense of awareness of our bodily sensations and our emotions. When we talk about mindfulness, we want to talk about engaging in the present moment and allowing our thoughts and feelings to arise without judgment. When we talk about exploration, we talk about encouraging free-form movement and self-expression rather than adhering to strict choreography. And when we talk about integration, we want to talk about connecting the physical movement with the emotional and mental states so that we can begin to foster healing and holistic experiences for ourselves. So the benefits of healing dance. Engaging in somatic movement practices can lead to a lot of benefits. I know for myself, before I entered the body or somatic movement as my entry point to healing, I was a meditator doing yoga and meditation. And meditation is using the mind as that entry point, just as talk therapy uses the mind as that entry point. But when we move to somatic-based practices, we use the body as an entry point to our physical, mental, and emotional healing. So some physical benefits right off the bat: it improves flexibility. And a lot of that is not because we're stretching and trying to increase our flexibility. It's because when we dance and we release those feel-good hormones and we begin to drop the ego, we naturally become more flexible. So our regular movement practice helps to increase flexibility and range of motion through movement rather than stretching. So enhanced strength. Yes, I used to work out and go to the gym, and when I began to let some of that go and focus more on the healing dance, I was a little worried that my body would get out of shape. But dance actually engages various muscle groups and really promotes overall strength and endurance in the body. Pain relief. So a lot of people experience chronic pain, emotional pain, physical pain, and the movement can alleviate the tension and discomfort in the body and begin to provide some pain relief for those chronic conditions. And again, I want to mention those feel-good hormones that release are also going to help elevate your mood and help release some of that emotional pain and burden that you've been carrying. So emotional benefits. So for me, I know that my emotions can run hot or cold. I can fluctuate and have mood swings based on my hormonal fluctuations. And so I find dance to be a wonderful way to balance my emotions. So we have stress reduction. That is the number one thing. I've had people come to my class, and on a scale of 1 to 10, their stress may be an 8, 9, or even 10. And by the end of the class, it's come down to a 2. And that's just after one class. So stress reduction through our healing dance can serve as this natural stress reliever, and it allows us to release those pent-up emotions. We're not always walking around expressing how we naturally feel, which means we're usually pressing our emotions down and suppressing how we feel. And so this healing dance and somatic-based movement gives the body a place to express, release, and let go of what we've been holding on and storing. So I have found that dance also increases our self-esteem. So this movement fosters a sense of accomplishment and boosts self-confidence. And when you let go of stress and tension, that natural self-esteem will begin to percolate inside. So, emotional release. I talk about somatic release a lot in my online academy and in all of my practices. Somatic release is some of the symptoms that we induce or that we have in this practice. And what that means is that our body, when it has these somatic release symptoms, it's actually having an emotional release through the sensations. And it's a signal that our body is moving out of fight or flight and into rest and digest. So, this healing modality of movement provides a safe space to express and process difficult emotions that can lead to really big leaps and bounds in your healing journey. So, mental benefits. I definitely feel that my mental health has improved, and I can tell when I haven't been dancing and moving and doing my somatic-based practices, my mental health does suffer from that. So it helps to enhance our mental focus. So when I'm working, when I'm doing my computer work or engaged in work, and I feel that I'm starting to get my nervous system out of balance, I'm starting to feel stress or tension, or I'm starting to just lose focus and kind of wander off in my thoughts or, on the computer, on social apps. And so I find that the dance helps to really focus our energy. The movement actually encourages mindfulness and it improves our concentration and mental clarity. So you can take a break, do some somatic-based movement, and if you do this 3 to 4 times per week, you will notice a more focused and concentrated time when you're sitting down to work. So dance also gives us a big creative boost. A lot of people who are writers or artists or who have to access their creativity for work attend my classes and my courses. And I've heard a lot of people who take the teacher training also have other creative modalities that they do in their life, and that the dance helps feed or boost or encourage their creativity for their other modalities. So engaging in the dance can stimulate your creativity and inspire new ideas. And then the last benefit I want to talk about when we talk about our mental benefits is connection to self. So a lot of us can feel disassociated or disconnected from ourselves, and somatic movement fosters a deeper connection to one's body, emotions, and promotes self-awareness. So this can bring you a little bit closer to knowing who you are. So I want to talk about a personal story of healing through dance. To illustrate the transformative power of somatic movement, let's explore a couple personal stories of individuals who have shared their heal through dance experience with me. So this first story I want to share with you, or testimonial if you want to call it as such, is about overcoming trauma. So Sarah was a survivor of trauma, and she found her healing in somatic movement classes. Initially, she was hesitant because she discovered that these gentle movements did allow her to connect with her body in a safe environment, though the dance aspect was a little bit hesitant because she didn't feel she was a dancer. Once she was able to allow herself to engage in these movements, she was able to process emotions and release tension that she had been storing in her body for many years. Sarah now uses this dance and this lineage and these practices as a regular practice for her emotional healing and self-care. So thank you to Sarah for taking our course and embodying these practices, using it for healing, and then sharing about her journey with us. So I'm going to share 2 more stories before the close of this video. This is about someone who came to the class and learned about managing anxiety. So John used to struggle with anxiety for most of his life, and after attending a somatic movement workshop, he realized that the movement helped him to ground himself and alleviate his anxious thoughts. So by focusing on his breath, the sensations in his body, and some of the grounding somatic practices that he learned, he could learn how to navigate the anxiety more effectively that he dealt with in his life. So Heal Through Dance became a vital tool in his mental health toolkit. So thank you to John. Thank you to stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something new and acknowledging and realizing how it helped your anxiety. I can definitely relate as someone who has suffered with anxiety throughout my stages of life. especially getting triggered in different traumatic situations. And so I do feel that I can relate to what John's sharing and that it has definitely helped me release my own anxiety. So the last story before we close out our session for this video is about rediscovering joy. And I have lots of testimonials about rediscovering joy and reconnecting with that blissful and joyful state. I'm just going to share one real quick before we close out. And this is after a long battle with depression, which I know that probably hits home for a lot of people. We've all dealt with sadness and depression, and especially clinical depression. So I empathize with anyone going through depression. So this participant, Maria, she felt disconnected from her body and she felt no joy. She had decided to join our dance, and she really liked the fact that it was emphasizing somatic movement. She felt when she read about it that this could possibly help her. So as she began to move freely and express herself in the classes, she began to rediscover her love for dance. She completely forgot how much she loved to dance and the joy that it brought her. So this practice not only lifted her spirits, but it also helped her build connection with others in the community, because by going to somatic-based dances and free-form movement community spaces, you can connect with others. So this dance can not only help you reconnect with joy, but reconnect with like-minded people. So you can learn more about this inside my online academy. I'll leave the links below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.